Hey Gearfacts geezers, as you can see I've got two multi-track recorders set up before you. We've got the 32 kHz Zoom PS-04 on the right and the 44.1 kHz Micro BR, check out that reflection, cool, Micro BR on the left. We're pretty much going to ignore the Micro BR today. It's just going to be recording an experiment from the PS-04. We're going to look at the mastering capabilities of the PS-04 and see how a pre-recorded track comes up. If you're looking for a more general demo of the effects of the PS-04, I have already done a video about that and I will put a link up right about now. But in the meantime, let's zoom in on the PS-04 screen and have a listen to a pre-recorded track and see how the mastering layer improves it. Okay, so the track is a cover of the Edie Brickell song called Circle, and it starts off with a preset drum beat provided by the PS-04's rhythm section. I'm now going to press the effect button on the right. You'll see mastering comes up. All the insert effects have to be recorded at the time of actually playing your instrument. This mastering section that we're looking at now comes after all that's been done. It's our final layer, and the individual effects within this layer are designed to bring out the color and detail in the recording that you've made. And this will hopefully get it as good as it can possibly be. Despite being a 32 kHz recorder, the sound quality is pretty indistinguishable from a 44.1 kHz recorder. If you can distinguish it, you've got better ears than I have. I think the PS-04 does remarkably well in this area, and the mastering layer just adds to that, so I thought it was worth demonstrating this on YouTube. I'll now just run through each of the mastering sounds, maybe giving a bar or two to each of them as I go.
Me, I'm a part of your circle of friends, and we notice you don't come around. And me, I think it all depends on you touching ground with us. But I quit, I give up, nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems I quit, I give up, nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems.
Okay, we'll hold it right about there because we've come to the empty section now, and this is where we can create a patch of our own to get the right mastering feel for our song. Those dozen or so patches give us a good start point, but as we know, preset patches in machines like these are often a little bit lackluster and it really needs to be personalized. So let's go ahead and do that now. We can press the edit button, and we'll see that it's saying for a moment that it's got comp, which means compressor, and that's off. You can turn it on by pressing the up button on the selector here, and then we can choose levels of compression. If we move to the right, we'll find that there's more parameters within the compression that we can choose. Then it moves on to the next effect, Normalizer. Once again, we press up to switch our Normalizer on. This will bring our levels into line. It works nicely with the compressor. The compressor smooths out our waveform, and then the Normalizer goes ahead and balances volume as best it can right through the whole composition. Again, we can change our level of gain. Normalizing has a lot to do with loudness, or overall loudness in our composition. And you'll often find with normalizing it's a battle between noise and loudness. You want to get it as close to 0 dB as you can without letting too much noise through. Moving on, now we see 3EQ. That's 3-band equalizer. This one's interesting. Let's switch it on. By pressing the buttons along the top row here, we can choose high equalizing, mid-range, and low, and then overall level. Again, we've got to watch out for our noise, but it really is a good 3-band equalizer, and we'll play around with that a little bit in just a moment. Dimension. This effect is a little bit harder to explain. Let's turn it on. Dimension seems to have more of an effect on attack and decay of sounds, and it does give a sense of space to the recordings. That's pretty much all I can articulate about this effect. It's just a case of finding out what the best setting is between 0 and 30, and we can go ahead and name that patch. Now we can go ahead and name that patch and save it. I'll exit from that though, and we will restart the song and try making a few changes as we go.
I'm a part of your circle of friends, and we notice you don't come around. And me, I think it all depends on you touching ground with us. But I quit, I give up. Nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems I quit, I give up. Nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems.
I'll just stop right about there and talk again about dimension. It's such a hard effect to define, so just have a careful listen as I go from 30 back to 0.
And being alone, it's the best way to be. When I'm by myself, it's the best way to be. When I'm all alone, it's the best way to be. When I'm by myself, nobody else can say goodbye. Everything is temporary anyway.
I think that's created a nice balance for this particular track. We've got some guitar there that we want to shine through a little bit. The rhythm, although electronic, we still want it to be nice and tightly defined. The mastering effect will affect onboard sounds as well. It's important to note that it won't just affect what you've recorded, it affects everything. Also, bass. We've got nice tight bass showing through without distortion, without a muddy sort of rumbling sound, just enough to complement those trebly sorts of sounds. The guy singing has a very mid-range kind of voice, and again what we want is definition, clarity, and not too much separation in volume from the other instruments. I should mention also, guys, I've got no idea who did this recording. I bought this recorder second hand and it was just there, so I just want to thank whoever's voice this is. Now for the purpose of comparison, I'll go back to some of the presets. Now for the purpose of comparison, I'll let this play for a little longer, and then I'll work my way back through the presets so you can hear the difference.
When the streets are wet, the colors slip into the sky. Oh, that means you and I, that means you and I, that means you and I quit. I give up, nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems, but I quit, I give up. Nothing's good enough for anybody else. It seems.
So obviously that's not everybody's musical style. Some of those presets will work a lot better with a harder rock sound or a techno sound or a metal sound or live performances. So there are many applications, but I think we've achieved the purpose of this video, which was to show you what the PS-04 can bring out of a basic recording, and I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight into mastering. Feel free to leave a comment, and I'd love it if you hit that like button, or even better still, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Gearfacts.